Welcome to another week of Prep Sports Chat. Sports editor Jeff Kewitt along with high school coordinator Keith Dunlap. And Keith, let's start out with some different sports this week. Big activities going on this weekend.
Hard to believe we're a week away from the state golf and tennis tournaments. I know already, but and of course to get there they have to qualify out of regionals in those sports, and regionals will be held. Actually, they're being held today as we speak, but around the state. But most of them in our area, Oakland County, will be taking place on Friday. I'll be at one Friday where you have 3 of the top 4 ranked teams in the state at one regional: Rochester, Stony Creek, Grosse Pointe South. The top 3 out of the golf regionals qualify for next week's state tournament. And as far as tennis goes, top 2 teams out of a regional qualify, and maybe a 3rd team if they get enough qualifying points, if they do well enough. And so they'll be scattered about. Most of them are in the area tomorrow on Friday, so it'll take a little bit of attention away from football.
Looking for good weather?
We are. I think the weather forecast is very good. So
be nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of football, first of all, I guess let's start with the big surprise we had last week. You may not think, but when you don't beat someone for 31 years, it's a surprise, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah, Farmington beating Farms Mills Harrison. First time since 1977. It was a 20-19 final. Ironically enough, that was the final in '77 when they beat them. You know, Halloween, it must be 3 weeks away, but yeah, it was a great win for Farmington, and what that does, that puts them in a position to make the playoffs now.
Oh my goodness.
They were started 0-3, and now if they beat Stony Creek this week, they'll be heavily favored to win their last 2 games against Athens and North Farmington, so that'd be quite a turnaround to go from 0-3 to 6-3. So that's what that win, you know, as great as it was just to beat Harrison and the euphoria over that really puts them in a good position, assuming they can take care of business against a pretty solid Stony Creek team this week.
Good news for Farmington, not so much good news for traditional powerhouses that we've seen around here for years. They could be in trouble this year.
I don't know, the last time you had Harrison, Orchard St. Mary's, and Birmingham Brother Rice all missed the playoffs in 1 year. It probably never happened, but it's a possibility. Rice and St. Mary's, each with 3 losses, have to win out, and Harrison 2 losses, but they got to upset either Adams or Clarkson in the next 2 weeks to keep their hopes alive.
Any bold predictions there? Who's in, who's out? What do you think?
I think Rice will make it. I think St. Mary's and Harrison will. Wow. That's my vote. We'll see what happens.
You heard it from Keith Dunlap. Don't know what Cosmo would say about that, but we'll hear from him, I'm sure, before long. Keith, always a pleasure. Keep up the great work. I want to pitch one thing to you starting this week on MI Prep Zone. Go there if you haven't seen it already, but this week we're starting a new thing. We're going to stream live high school football games. This week is Harrison and
Adams. We had Lake Orion Troy last week, and we'll broadcast games each week up through the playoffs.
Just go to miprepzone.com, look for the link. I understand even after the game, when the game's done,
it should be archived and still listen to it.
And should be able to go see it. Lots of good things happening there. As always, parents, as you're shooting video of the games, we're still have the promotion going where we want a play of the month for football. Submit your play. There's a place for you, an icon where you can submit videos. Ask you to do that. At the end of the year, the best video of the year is going to appear on the scoreboard at a Lions game, and of course you'll be there to see it. Keith, let's do this again next week.
Of course.
This is Jeff Kewitt, sports editor, Keith Dunlap, high school coordinator.